We're now live streaming. Welcome to the Food and Beverage Pitch Lounge. I'm your co-host, Jamal Maxey. We're also co-hosting today is Sascha Dutta. We do have the panelists trying to join. I'll just get them in. They're just having some trouble with the Zoom form and the Zoom link. We're just about to start with the event proper. So I'm just going to introduce the event and also my co-host. So yeah, welcome to the Food and Beverage Pitch Lounge. This event series is an opportunity for capital raising food and beverage founders at pre-seed to Series A or above to secure exposure, to meet with strategic advisors, and also for connection to investors. The event series is co-produced and co-hosted by the long-running producers of the series, Sascha Dutta from Foodpreneurs Collective and FoodHack Dubai, Tammy Ho from FoodHack Dubai, myself from Pitch Lounge and Food Forward Fooding, Miraj Ahmed, and also our strategic partners, Elena Suchi from RSP Business Angel and Gennady Kollenstein from Dynamic Ventures. The event is recorded and it's being live streamed. You're the lucky ones who get to interact here with inside the Zoom call. We also have a number of different formats of events that we run, both feedback guidance, coaching events, and also in-person expo and networking. At least two forms of our pitch events, our online versions are explained in the FAQs I've just pasted. Before moving on to the event and passing over to my co-host, I wish to introduce her. Sascha Dutta is the co-producer from Foodpreneurs Collective and is lead ambassador at FoodHack Dubai. She has over 15 years of corporate marketing experience working in brand management and MPD for companies like PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and AB World Foods. She is now specializing in marketing strategy and event management as a freelance consultant, offering consulting and business mentoring in F&B businesses and co-hosting events like this to support the startup community. She was the lead ambassador for FoodHack in London, and FoodHack globally is a community of nearly 1,500 food and beverage entrepreneurs. But she relocated to London, to Dubai, in 2023, and she now is the lead ambassador for FoodHack Dubai. She's also a global ambassador for various other organizations, for Forward Fooding, mentor on the UK government's Help to Grow management course for startups, and recently listed in the 99 most influential women in global agri-food by the Food Cons. On a more local level, she is also ambassador for various expos in Dubai, including Free From Food Dubai Expo, and she regularly co-produces F&B networking events in Dubai with various VC companies and others. And she set up the Foodpreneurs Collective UAE WhatsApp community group a year ago. And if anyone's interested in connecting with her or joining that group, I'm pasting the links in the chat now. So it's a great pleasure to hand over to Sascha to moderate the rest of the event. Thanks, Sascha.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'll introduce Jamal first. So Jamal Maxey moved to Berlin 8 years ago to teach and soon started organising events and workshops in the startup scene and lives between Berlin and Hyderabad in India. He did a venture capitalist course at London Business School in 2022, which also increases his ability to coach startups on their investor pitches and make investor introductions. In 2024, he was chosen alongside a stellar group of people as a global food tech shaper in the top 100 by the Food Cons. He's coached and hosted over 600 startups over the past 5 years and consults with a handful of our alumni startups and lives between Germany, India, and the UK. You can contact him for investor pitch coaching, recommendations for strategic advisor board members, and other startup support. He's also open to fractional part-time employment offers in events, marketing, and partnerships. You should be able to see his details in the chat now. In terms of networking and our wider community and options here, I won't read the whole list down, but basically you can subscribe to the newsletter. We have networking groups either in LinkedIn. We've got several LinkedIn groups. I've also got my Foodpreneurs Collective group, which is mainly for the UAE or anyone trading in the UAE, which is a WhatsApp group. And then there's other pages if you look on the Pitch Lounge website, which has got all the events listed, and you can get archives of past events. And there's a YouTube channel, particularly if you want to see either past recordings of the pitches like this, these events. And also for anyone who's particularly interested in the UAE market, we've been running a webinar series, obviously given the current conflict in this region, about things like sales and how to navigate, supply chain issues and everything. So if anyone's interested in that, you can find all the recordings on YouTube as well. Now on to this evening's event and the schedule. I'm going to do some introductions in a minute to the panelists and the startups pitching. Then we have 4 startups pitching who will pitch for 5 to 7 minutes each, followed by Q&A and feedback for a further 18 to 20 minutes each with our advisor investor panels. Observers are welcome to ask questions in the chat, and the startups can respond in the chat afterwards. After that, we'll have an update on future Pitch Lounge events and offerings and a chance to ask any questions. And then after that, please stay on for the networking in the Zoom breakout rooms. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. Please keep on mute unless it's your turn to speak. We prefer to have videos on so we can see your face and not a black screen. We're here to support and encourage, so please be mindful of what you write in the chat and be constructive if you're providing feedback. And finally, this is a non-political space, so nothing about anything to do with the conflict going on, please. Right, in terms of who's pitching this evening, as I said, we have 4 lined up. I'll just top line who they are, and then I'll go into more detail as and when we get to each one pitching. So we have Curry Smugglers Desi Snacks being presented by Steve Selopal. We have Optilicious Menus AI presented by Frederick Duffer. We have Ice Senine Drinks by Maximilian Medhurst. And we have Sesame Mix being presented by Wizel Ahmed. I'd now like to introduce the panelists this evening. We have Beatriz Romanos Hernando, innovation coach and advisor, a founder and a food tech innovation coach, a consultant, speaker and advisor, and a tech food ecosystem specialist. We have Elena Suciu, founder and CEO of RSVP Business Angel. She's a judge and mentor at Mass Challenge Switzerland and Founder Institute in London. A food and drink challenger brand advocate, formerly financial controller at Diageo, and she's an angel investor. Then we have Gennady Goldenstein, founder and managing partner of Dynamic Ventures, food service tech innovator, new product development specialist in software, hardware, F&B formulations, new concepts and operating models. Then we have Oliver Fuss, founding partner of Food Funder, project management expert, food tech fundraising specialist and angel investor. And then finally, we have Sam Morris, investment lead at the Tomorrow Ventures, venture investor, consumer and food innovation focus. I'll now go on to give you a bit more detail about each of those in a bit more detail. So for Beatriz Romanos Hernando, she has over 10 years in food tech and is a leading voice in food innovation, connecting technology with real market needs. She's the founder of Intrepedia.io, formerly Tech Food Magazine, and author of Food Tech, The Great Revolution of the Food Industry. She has driven thought leadership across alternative proteins, digital transformation, and sustainability. As a consultant, mentor, and venture partner, she supports startups, corporates, and accelerators in building innovative strategies and scaling food tech solutions globally. So welcome to Beatriz. Next up, we have Elena Suciu, founder and CEO of RSVP Business Angel. So she leads this group where she supports the ag and food tech and climate tech startups with mentorship, investor access, financial strategy, and fundraising preparation. She serves as a judge and mentor at Mass Challenge Switzerland, Founder Institute London, ETH Entrepreneur Club, Brainforest, and EIT Food. And she helps food and AgTech innovators scale through investment readiness and strategic partnerships. She draws on over 15 years of experience at Diageo and in venture investing to champion food and beverage challenger brands and impact-driven food tech ventures worldwide. So thank you. Welcome back, Elena, who's a regular with us and one of our strategic partners for these events. Next up, we have Gennady Goldenstein. He has over 20 years in product development and has driven innovation at Yum Brands and Well Built. His expertise spans food, automotive, aerospace, and consulting at McKinsey, focusing on product development strategy and operations. As managing partner, he advances tech-driven innovation across food service and hospitality sectors. So welcome back, Gennady, who's, again, a regular panelist of ours, so great to have you back. Next up, we have Oliver Fuss. He champions personalized food tech innovations, often spotlighting cutting-edge concepts like microbiome-tailored granola, demonstrating his passion for customized nutrition and personalized health solutions. He serves as an ambassador for FoodHack, a global food tech and climate tech community where he curates meetups, fosters local food tech ecosystems, and plays a role in mobilizing founders, funders, and innovators around sustainable food solutions. With deep tech expertise in project management and fundraising for food tech ventures, he simplifies complex industry challenges, bridging technical innovation, startup execution, and finance to drive entrepreneurial success. So great to have you back again, Oliver. And then finally, we have Sam Morris, who's an investor at Be Tomorrow Ventures, backing high growth startups across consumer, food, and next generation categories. Experience spanning venture investing, corporate innovation, and scaling disruptive brands. He's passionate about identifying emerging trends from new consumption behaviors to breakthrough food and beverage concepts. So it's great to have you, Sam, new to our panel this evening, but great to have you. So let's get started then. So first up this evening.
Sascha, can I just say something? Sorry, can you go back to the panel a second? I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened. We've had a few panelists not be able to get into the call, so I'm just chasing them in. And then one or two might not join us. So we might have at least two new panelists, Ravi Kankara from the US, Kenya, and India, and also possibly another one as well. So there might be some shifts around the panelists. I only realized in the last 10 minutes that a few were either canceling or not being able to get in. So I will fix that, but we might have some other ones. So the ones you've just seen, they were confirmed, but they're not. Two or three of them are actually struggling to get in or have cancelled. So I'm going to give you updates shortly, but we will still continue with the event. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks. Right, so on to the first startup pitching this evening. So as I said, we have Curry Smugglers Desi Snacks. They're a post-revenue Desi snack brand bringing authentic homemade flavors to market using their mother's traditional recipes with snacks packed in innovative and recyclable beer cans, which keep them fresher and deliver a bold, modern, and environmentally friendly snacking experience. Presenter is the founder, Steve Solopal. The deal summary, raising a pre-seed of 200,000 SEIS investment round to scale production, expand distribution, and accelerate retail growth. Some of his achievements in the past year, Fortnum Mason Food and Drink Awards winner, growth across wholesale events and direct channels, major retail conversations underway, and South Asian snacking positioned as premium, modern, and culturally relevant. So over to you, Steve.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Steve, I'm the founder, and I am a curry smuggler. Peace. We started this brand just at the end of 2024. It's an exciting brand, and we've got a lot of cultural pride in what we're doing. And I would love to share it with you right now. I'm just going to share my screen. One second, bear with me. Oops. You can see I haven't done this before. There you go. Right. You guys can see my screen?
Yeah, it's full screen. Please begin, Steve. Yeah.
Super. Yeah, so we're the Curry Smugglers. We launched our brand back in 2024, November 2024. And it's myself, my wife, and we are coming up to 60 years old. And my kids are saying, why, Dad, are you starting a business at 60 when you should be chilling in Goa? Well, the reason is because we had to change what's going on in the Asian snacking aisle. So my wife, Ruby, she's a teacher, works in junior primary school. Myself, I've worked in the F&B industry for nearly 20 years. I've been really involved with beer scene, the alcohol-free industry since 2016, and I still continue to do consultancy work within the industry. I've cut down my drinking substantially, but I wanted to stay within the beer industry. So hence why we use beer cans. The reason why we're here today is to talk about the problem. You go into the Asian snacking aisle and all you see is clear, boring bags of Bombay mix or bhujia, all our staples that we grew up eating, our mothers would make for us on festivals or rainy days. Times have changed, but those snacks have not. So what we had to do is bring it up to date, and we wanted to create a brand that's got the Bollywood vibrancy and the swag of South Asian culture. people know us as a colorful country, South Asia, India, Mumbai, the hustle and bustle. And that's not represented in the snacks that currently are on the supermarket shelf. So what we done, we created the Curry Smugglers. So these are 4 cans of iconic snacks. Bombay Mix, which we believe is probably the best snack in the world. All my friends in the pub trade, they all believe it's the best pub snack. The Pakora, Chakli, which is iconic, North Asia and South, and obviously the masala corn, which is maize kernels in my mum's masala mix, which, you know, everybody's loved it so far. So we created these 4 iconic snacks, 4 iconic cans, which have been taken on by the industry. People are talking about us. And what we've found so far is that this is not just a snack, it's become an experience. And that's what people want. They want something that they can Instagram. Do you think plastic bags will be Instagrammable? I don't think so. Our snacks really do tick all the buttons. So what we've done so far, so launched in 2024 November, our turnover is roughly about 52K. We have canned 40,000 cans so far. Got 4 snacks. We've got 3 major distributors online at the moment. We're stocked in Selfridges. And as Sascha was saying, we won Best Brand at Fortnum Mason just 6 months after launching. We're currently in conversation with Ocado. There's a major retailer who's already given us a rough idea of volumes for pre-Christmas for our gift packs. And the buzz is happening. We've got about 14,000 social media followers. We just need someone to work with us to take our brand to the next level. So that's our competitors. Boring bags? No, you agree? I bet you do. So the raise is actually 150K. So we're looking to raise that now. We're offering 10% equity in our business. You know, we got already a lot of interest in what we've done, and we have raised a little bit of money so far. We've got one of the largest, well, the UK's marketing company is looking to take a stake in us called Mother. They're the people behind the advertising for IKEA, KFC, Gusto, etc. They're really excited about what we're doing. So they want a part of us. We need the finance to get our canning line in place because there's nobody in the United Kingdom that fills dry goods into beer cans. So we've been doing it with a little machine, but now we can't do it with a little machine. We need a big machine, build our team, get the marketing, and literally go for it. Our target customers, it's a wide. It's not just the British Asians, not what my children are looking for, but the mainstream audience. Health conscious, all our snacks are with vegetable oils, there's no preservatives, and we appeal to such an audience such as the go-to snackers. We supply a lot of breweries, their tap rooms, pubs and bars. They love it. You know, people think it's a beer can. Some people have said to us, is this a Bombay mixed flavored lager? I don't think so. And then they shake the can and they know what's inside. Festivals, you know, you name it, we're looking to do. Projected growth for the industry up to 2028, snacking all over is about 7 billion. The South Asian market is roughly about 5% of that. So 365 million pounds in 2028, and that's probably done by all those boring plastic bags. So imagine what we can bring to the market. So this is what we're looking at our figures after we raise. 349 first year, 7, and then 2.1 in the third. You know, every single penny will go towards top line growth here. You know, we want to be competitive. We want to make a product that people look at and respect. You know, we looked at brands, what's going on out there. We saw what Liquid Death did to the water industry by disrupting it. We can do exactly the same thing and disrupt the South Asian snacking aisle. This is our forecast projection. This is all from from after we have raised our on this round, and this is the exit points for potential investors. Finally, I just want to say that, we're creating a brand here. We're creating an experience. We've got traction already. People are talking about us. I was at an event yesterday, people gather around. Oh, wow, wow, wow. We got that wow factor. We just want somebody to join us and take us to the next level. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Steve. Great presentation. I'm definitely going to get my in-laws who are Indian to try it when I'm back in the UK because they're all based there. I think they'd like this because you're so right. All the packaging I ever see in their house is the other stuff you've shown me. So, yeah, great.
Thank you.
Right, over to the panelists. Let's have a look. Gennady, would you like to go first?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Steve, thanks so much. Nice pitch. Like the brand positioning, really
Thank you.
kind of a tongue-in-cheek and clever. So big compliments on that, and big compliments on the traction so far.
Thank you.
Couple of questions. So obviously, customer response has been pretty good, right?
Mhm.
What feedback are you getting, both not necessarily even the good, but the feedback that you're getting that would cause you to either modify something about the product or add an additional SKU? Are you getting any customer feedback like that on the product itself?
We've actually had two different feedbacks. So initially, people weren't sure what the product was when they saw the cans on the shelf. So we had to update the label recently to add the word snacks. I deliberately didn't put the word snacks on there because I believe everybody knows what Bombay mix is. But we've modified that. And then also later on, we are looking to put a plastic lid on top as well. I personally think if you crack open a can, you're probably going to eat it. But there are some people who are saying that we should put a lid on. The other thing that we've had a lot of feedback on recently is the fact that a lot of people are fed up of brands like Cobra and Kingfisher. And they feel that because we've got such a strong name, that we should be looking to do a Asian-inspired beer. So we've been looking at all of the history of brewing in India. So before the British went to India and the IPA story, beer was made by the locals with rice. So we're thinking of doing a rice lager, and which I think will sit very well with all the pubs that are already stocking us.
Okay. Gotcha. But let's stay with the snacks for a sec. So you mentioned nobody really puts food into metal cans.
No,
Fair.
we're the world's only snack in a beer can.
So what's the plan to scale manufacturing? If nobody else does, it sort of takes co-packer potential out of equation. So
Yep.
is the plan to do your own manufacturing? And if so,
So
how do
we
you
are,
see that happening?
yeah, so we're currently doing that. So we've packed already 40,000 cans. So I purchased a machine from China when we launched for us to do that. It's a semi-automatic machine. So with that, we've done 40,000 cans, but now with the potential orders that people are talking about, with this investment, I'm looking to purchase a proper canning machine where we can do some serious volumes. The snacks themselves, we were initially producing them ourselves here in a local industrial kitchen. But being a two-person team, there's only so much we can do. So we've found a manufacturer based up north in England who makes Asian snacks. My wife sat with them and perfected the recipe as per her mother's and my mother's. So we're not worried about that sector now. So we've got someone to produce it. But regarding the canning, we want to keep that in-house. And that's what we're looking to part of the raise that we're trying to do now.
Okay. So to follow up on that, what's your cost per can right now, and what do you think the cost per can is going to be when you have more equipment, more scale, better equipment?
So
And at what's the limit do you think you can get to with whatever you're going to get from this race, from this round? How many cans per year do you think you can bang out with that?
so currently our cost of can is around about 65p at the present moment, because we have to get the cans pre-labeled, etc. So with the canning line, we'll be automatically saving approximately about 15 pence. If we do that all in the house, the machine will apply the labels, etc., etc. In terms of volume, if we continue the way we are now without a industrial machine, we can probably still look at roughly about, say, 100,000 cans a year. But with 100,000 cans, we really won't be able to sit and talk with the supermarkets. With the actual major canning line, we've got a potential of doing approximately 200, 300 plus cans a year. That shouldn't be a problem at all.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great job. Great job. Great branding. Great pitch.
Thank you. Thanks for the love.
Great. Thank you, Kennedy. Oliver, would you like to go next? You're on mute.
Hello? Now?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks for the pitch. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And also the branding, I think, is really matching the product.
Thank you.
I was one of those people who didn't really know what Bombay Mix was as well, so I was a little bit confused. I was thinking the whole time, what's actually inside the can? So I'm glad that you explained that. But for me, one of the questions I had was around the ingredient side.
Sure.
So I've seen, for example, companies like Estrella Damm in Spain, they've done kind of open innovation competitions on using brewer spent grain or brewer spent yeast as snacking ingredient. I was wondering if you've looked into this as a kind of angle, or what you think of that.
That's a really, really good point. As you know, beer yeast is like vitamin B, isn't it? So with all this functional drinks and functional snacks going on, we have spoken to someone and we're thinking of actually doing one of our snacks with brewer's yeast. We've recently launched a special edition version of our Bombay mix, and we added lion's mane mushroom to it, which sold out immediately. So definitely, we're going to be looking at brewer's yeast. It makes sense because we're in a beer can too.
Right. Yeah. What are some of those other benefits that customers are getting, or that you might be thinking about, beyond kind of the product in the can?
Benefits in what terms of our packaging, or
For example, convenience, or I don't know if you're including, for example, brewer spent grain, you have, different kind of nutritional values or things of that nature.
Sure. Well, we found a couple of things that, because our snacks, they've got nuts, the protein levels are high, that we try to put less salt in compared to a lot of the other snacks. So we're trying to push as much health conscious we can into a fried product,
Right.
The benefits that we have found with retailers, a lot of retailers are saying, Steve, it's so easy to put your product on the shelf. Unlike bags that fall over, your products are always sitting there, and also we've noticed not just the environmental aspect, that an aluminium can be melted and remade into a bag and plastic will end up into a landfill. The snacks also remain more fresher in a can, whereas in a plastic bag you have those micro holes in it.
Mhm.
Plus bag snacks get crushed up so quickly, don't they? So we have those benefits as well.
Yeah, of course. I was wondering actually about that as well. So, I mean, technically, it's interesting to think about putting it in a vending machine or something like that as well.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
how does it affect shelf life? You said it's better in a can compared to a bag.
Yeah. No, so we've done some we kept some cans from when we launched, and we opened up at certain times of the year, and we've noticed that they haven't really changed too much. So they've been quite remained quite crispy and fresh. So I think the can has really helped. It really preserves and doesn't let too much oxygen come inside. It makes a lot of difference.
Hmm. And in terms of the sale price, was wondering if there's any premium for selling it in a can or if the consumer values this.
There is that difference because a plastic bag you can pick up for about 2 pence. It's just, very
Yeah.
difficult. An aluminium can is roughly about 10p, and a lid is about 4 pence. So those scales are different. But what we have in the long term, it's a lighter product. It's a product that won't get crushed, and also the fact that an aluminium can can be smelted down. We all worry about what goes into landfill. So hopefully maybe we will be the first of many others that will look at our packaging and do the same. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Great. Thank you, Oliver. And then we have a late addition onto the panel because we unfortunately the other going to join us on, and that's Ravi Kakara. So thank you for stepping in, Ravi. You're going to ask some questions. I hope you've had a bit of a briefing of this one as you didn't see all of the pitch. So.
No, but I love the fact, Steve, that you are very committed to sustainability. I've
Thank you.
been working on sustainability for 25 years. I
Thanks,
spent time looking at AgTech, food tech, now water tech, and a lot of work on renewables. But I think I really want to hear from you because I think the point that you're trying to bring again and again is the user experience of really saying that
Indeed.
the Gen Z, Gen Alpha is asking for more sustainably packed material on the shelf. It's very clear. All data, everything. And if I look at AI Palet's recent 2025 report, it very clearly says that's what they want. And I'm sure all the listeners here will probably agree. So how are you targeting in terms of your GTM, whether you're doing B2B or D2C? How are you really looking at the mediums of targeting the young consumers who will probably take this for 10p, as you said? And I see a huge use case of this in Middle East, South Asia, India, and other parts. You can see Sascha nodding because she's in Dubai. I think this will really be a big hit. So I think you'd really definitely have something which is doing very well.
You're very kind, Ravi. It's literally, I had a conversation the other day that somebody was saying to me, Steve, your cans should be in Soho House. Your cans would be ideal in Dubai. So people want something different. A lot of these hoteliers want to have products that are different, and hopefully we can tick that box. Your question regarding B2C, from day one launch, nobody knew what we were about to hit the industry with. And I made sure the day we launched, our Instagram was going bang, bang, bang. Every other day we were hitting it, and people going like, what the hell are these guys come from? And that impact has really helped us. I think also, Ravi, you're familiar with, the incredible Bombay and New Delhi street art, Horsecast Village, etc. And we wanted to bring that vibe over here.
Lovely.
Everybody on this screen right now, we all travel, we're all, we love the foods of different countries, but sometimes it's very difficult to project, the passion and the culture of a product. And what really upset us about a couple of years ago is that you go into the supermarket aisle and you see some really lovely South American snacks, the colorful branding, the new Vietnamese and Korean snack. But our Indian snacks, they were really struggling. So we've got to do something about it. And we want to give it that Bollywood vibe, and make everybody fall in love with South Asian snacking again.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I would just recommend, and we'll do a direct call But I really see a huge use case, and the GTM will really matter, Steve, because the GTM can just bring you floods of demand here, and this can really look at possibility of either an ODMs or OEMs in the future. So happy to do a back and forth. Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for the love, man. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ravi, and so thank you so much for stepping in. If anyone wants to know Ravi's background, Jamal just pasted his bio in the chat, so you can read it. I mean, if we've got time at the end, I might actually read it, but I don't want to delay things. So, he's got a lot of experience, so definitely check on that. Right, thank you so much, Steve.
Thank
A brilliant presentation, said, and obviously
Steve,
everyone had a chance to
Steve,
see Steve at the.
yes, Steve can't stay. Steve can't stay
Right.
till the end for networking, the breakout room. So, if you're in the audience and you do have questions for Steve, please ask them now, and he can then interact and answer those questions. Same goes for Oliver and Gennady and Ravi. If you've got anything else for Steve, ask it now. I will introduce him to the panelists. Also, if you do think later, oh, I'd love to be introduced to Steve, reach out to me or Sascha and we can make that introduction. But thanks, Steve. Thanks for joining us. It's a really lovely pitch, lovely interactions.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Right. Okay. Right. We shall continue now. So on to the next startup pitching this evening. So we have Optilicious Menus AI being presented by the founder Frederick Duffer. So this is all about helping hospitality businesses sell more and increase their margins through data-driven menu optimization. So deal summary, raising an early round to scale its AI-driven menu optimization platform, funding deeper product development, more pilots with restaurant groups, and sales capacity for multi-site hospitality rollouts. Achievements to date, built and launched its platform, run initial pilots with hospitality partners, and shown demand for menu optimization that lifts margins, reduces waste, and improves guest experience. So over to you, Frederick.
Hi, Sascha. Thank you so much for the introduction. Nice to meet you all from sunny Madrid. Not so sunny today, as you can imagine. From my haircut, I've changed a little bit from the picture. But in any case, nice to meet you all. I am the CEO and co-founder of Optilicious Menus. We are a startup based off Madrid. We currently only operate in Spain. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. Perfect. So I'm sure, quick show of hands here. I'm sure most of us have been to a restaurant and have been disappointed with the quality of that restaurant. Can anybody else testify to that? No, nobody. Everybody has been to fantastic restaurants. Well, that's the life I wish I.
Testify to that, Frederick. We can all testify to that.
Absolutely. I was working on my computer, then I realized I'm on the phone because I was trying to press unmute there.
I was actually hoping to hear the opposite, because that's the kind of life we want to lead. That's our dream, tomorrow's dream. We came from the conclusion that most of the restaurants that we came across, both in Madrid, Barcelona, and many other Spanish cities, are often repetitive. They don't sell enough, and we did a little bit of research, came to the conclusion that 60% of the restaurants died in their first year, and 90% of the restaurants in Spain didn't get to their 5th anniversary. And the market, as many of you know, is already clogged with tons of solutions, of POS solutions, with waste management solutions, and waste management different sorts of technological outputs and whatnot. But many of them, almost none of them, are focused on the only money-making engine of the restaurant, which is the menu. That's where all the money goes through. In Spain, we have the 2nd highest restaurant per capita ratio, and it's expected to grow even more, being 9% of the GDP, and it's expecting to grow up to 12% annually. There's been a real boom both in tourism and hospitality, and it's expected to grow up to 12% annually until 2032. We're expecting the restaurant digitization to keep increasing. So roughly 82,000 restaurants both track their inventory and are technically savvy, which are the two things we actually need. And this is how we came to our solution. We sat down with those restaurants, figure out why a plate of anchovy costed 16 euros instead of 3. And too many costs came into account, and very little was done to optimize the menu and the only source of income of that restaurant. So we decided to see what was the missing piece of the puzzle, finding out the intersection between trend alignment and the pricing of ingredients, trying to figure out how to navigate those pricing issues, not only in terms of quantities for each single dish that the restaurant owner is building, but also aligning it with the trends that that are out there on the market. Typically, a Spanish restaurant will hire a menu engineer, and they will charge between 100 and 200 euros per recipe. Can you imagine what that represents for your average corner side Chinese restaurant, which has over 100 dishes on their menu? This is not sustainable. So that is the source of the crisis. Just to give you an example, last year, over the summer of 2025, the price of red meat has increased by 25%, but none of the menu items have increased by 25%. And this led to a real pandemic hitting the entire restaurant industry, but also dark kitchens and hotels and other F&B sector companies. So we decided to develop a tool. This is dissected in 3 sections. The Opti Score, which is your chief procurement officer, automated chief procurement officer for your restaurant, that provides you with actionable metrics on a daily basis. The Opti Menu, which is the sandbox where everything is being done, where the creation and the inception of the new dishes of the menu are being experimented and fiddled with. And the Opti Market, which is closer to what you would think of a Skyscanner or a Kayak, but instead of getting flights, you can get ingredients for that restaurant. So we tried to dissect the whole menu and all the different menus and all the different steps of menu engineering, and try to reflect them through a comprehensive tool. Right. So we launched a month and a half ago. We acquired about 15 paying customers. We set ourselves to acquire 552 customers. We're still significantly LLM heavy, so we would need to change that. We are both techies, but also foodies at the same time. We're both ex-Google. I'm also ex-Revolut. Alessandro and I have met in Google. He was my ex-boss, and we both decided to create something of our own within that realm to save the Spanish restaurant industry. So if you care about the restaurants, this is the solution that will change the restaurant industry in the future. It's also applicable to other industries, the same way yield management can be applied to fashion or logistics or many other industries. One of the key players here, not to become another app and to generate more app fatigue, is integration. That's something that we managed over the past few months. We integrated with about 6 POS companies, which allowed us to build the tool hand in hand with different sorts of restaurants across the country. We do charge per menu, right? It's a 79 euro fee monthly per menu, and then once we will get to phase 2 and integrate the marketplace, we will move to a higher subscription tier of 99 euros with an expected over 1 year 50% conversion rate, because that's where the real value of the tool comes in, and with a significant reduction in churn reduction through faster onboardings, better processes, and lower LLM costs, lower LLM reliance. And of course, the phase 3 would be moving onwards towards an ads system where conversion to the second tier could be driven through ads that providers would be able to put on the first tier version of the tool. right? So there's a 3-phase plan. In terms of pricing, we're significantly cheaper than the rest of the competition. And when I mean competition, I try to stay a little bit obscure, because at the end of the day, you will have players out there that propose solutions that offer maybe part of our product, but don't cover everything that we do cover extensively. The same way, you know, we are not a POS company. We integrate with POS companies, and many times we're the missing piece of the puzzle for those restaurants to fully delegate and digitize a big part of their business, right? In terms of acquisition, cost per acquisition, we're looking at 510 euros per customer, lifetime value 1,481 euros, and 8 months, almost 9 months payback period for now. But we want to try and reduce this. For the ask, we're looking at 1 million. For now, we've only been bootstrapping. We don't have any debts. We're looking at expanding mostly on sales, marketing, client success. And for the GTM strategy, it's going to be a lot of door knocking, of course, but we want to try to stay as lean as possible, which we've managed so far. Trying to reduce the onboarding time by 70%, and try to bring the cost per acquisition down by 25-30%. Okay. The idea here is to get to a relatively quick exit, sell to a growing POS that is looking at expanding their features, and within 5 to 7 years frame, sell to another to sell to a POS company. Okay. That's about it for me. That's about it for the presentation. I know it was dense. Feel free to shoot any questions, remarks, insults, even if you guys have any. And it was nice to meet you all.
Your presentation, yeah, there's a lot covered in that. So I'm sure you'll get some questions on this. Right, let's have a look. Oliver, would you like to start first?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Frederick, really interesting business. I think there's a lot there. I wanted to dive in a little bit more practically speaking into the problem. So, I mean, you mentioned 60% of restaurants close. I mean, we've all seen Gordon Ramsay do Kitchen Nightmares. You know, there's a lot of bad restaurants out there, and they definitely need help. So that's not a question. I would like to go one level deeper and try to understand how you'd practically work with the businesses. So I imagine, you know, if menus are not optimized, you'd either need to work together with the chef directly. And I want to understand the dynamic between you and the restaurant owner. Would you know, who's making the decisions of what goes on the menu finally? Would that be the chef? Would that be the owner? Would that be you? How does that happen?
Exactly. So when we started building the tool, we took a pool of roughly 8 to 10 restaurants. And by restaurants, I mean, broadly speaking, including dark kitchens, hotels, and whatnot. And we came to the realization that indeed, it's not always the same person making the call on whoever, you know, builds the menu and whoever gets to decide what is going to be eaten. Because oftentimes the menu is made out with the heart, with the passion of the chef, but it's paid with the bills of the owner, right? It's paid with the credit card of the owner. So the one that has the final word is often the owner of the restaurant. Typically, we like to work with small to medium businesses that have pretty much everything centralized and that have everything digitized, that do track their inventory and that do have everything digitized. So as we charge per menu, a small dark kitchen that has 4 to 5 menus running simultaneously has way more value for us than a huge chain like KFC that has 1,000 locations but only 1 menu, right? So this also really defines the kind of sales pipeline that we're trying to achieve here, and it is quite versatile. We try to plug in with the current POS system that they have with their inventory system, and then we're kind of the missing part of the angle, right? So it's like hiring an advisor that is 24/7 working for you, that you can always consult, that is reachable from your pocket. You don't have time in the restaurant, you're currently on fire, And when you sit down to look at your numbers, they always pop up. You can download reports. You can look at the pricing angle depending on the events happening that week. How can I improve? How can I increase the price of this dish by 50 cents in order to extend my margin a little more and take advantage of the current situation? If there is a football match, if there is a special event in my city, how can I take advantage of that and tweak the menu so that I run my restaurant as a business and not just finger in the air?
So you touched on a little bit. It's interesting who your ideal customer is, because you mentioned they have multiple menus, so there's some level of complexity already. Because I wanted to challenge a little bit and think about, what about those ones that are not digitized at all, or that that you could bring into the digitized space, and you could add a lot of value to those. Why would you not focus on that segment, and why focus on the ones that are already digitized for you?
2 reasons. The main reason is because those that aren't digitized aren't surviving. So we're not targeting the corner side of the street cafe, but we're not targeting the Michelin star restaurant either. So this is 80% of the restaurants that are mid-tier out there potentially. That's the first reason. The second reason is that in Spain, from next year onwards, there will be a legal requirement to use a POS system. So it's already a very digitized market. You have 80 to 90% of restaurants in Spain already using one. And those that only focus on delivery, many of them already have access to a lot of the metrics that can be seen through a POS system. They have a de facto POS system because they charge through delivery apps.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, that's a really nice context for you to be launching the business into. What are the biggest levers that you can pull for cost reduction? I mean, you mentioned price of meat rising, and I imagine the menu choices of customers. So I guess it's kind of a 2-part question. One is like, what are the biggest levers? And then 2, in terms of menu optimization. And then the second one would be, why focus on the restaurant menu design changes when you could also, as opposed to, for example, nudging consumers to making choices that better align with a higher margin for the restaurant. So, for example,
Right.
if you had like an app, right, and like you'd build an app for a restaurant, and you'd say, hey, here's your app. Like, you don't have an app right now. We've designed it in a way that nudges people to making the highest margin choices for you, right? So that's kind of the alternative route, would be like targeting the consumer rather than the kind of the B2B. Just would love to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it could be. It was one of our initial thoughts, actually. But then when you come to the realization that everything today is viral, the system is a bit clogged with too much content right now. Recipe becomes trendy for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it disappears. Restaurants or consumers don't necessarily have the bandwidth to keep up with that. And you want to follow those micro trends, but you also want to follow those macro trends, and redirecting the consumer towards something that they don't really want, or they're not really craving, or that doesn't really align with their values, is not always. It could be a smart move in the short term, but overall in the long term, it doesn't really yield as much. You also have a certain level of risk awareness from restaurants in order to make those decisions. They're not going to change their menu every week or every 2 weeks, or they're not going to redirect, the consumer in a certain way in every week or 2 weeks. They're going to change it 2 to 3 times a year. Maybe they'll execute minor changes, but we're really going on a very granular level where we'll be able to tell, I want this many grams of meat to my patties for the specific burgers that I'm serving.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you, Oliver. Right, next, Ravi.
Thanks, Sascha. I think a really interesting concept. I don't know. I've just put the link of the book that we wrote 2 years ago, and we dedicated one entire chapter on food formulation, which is coming through the market. So, and really on the restaurant, HoReCa industry, and so on and so forth. I think that you need to First of all, it's great that you're thinking like this because the AI application in the restaurant industry is inevitable. Whoever's going to be the first runner will create a huge seismic change, as you said. But one critical piece that I wanted to understand was like, there are two ways of looking at this, as the other colleague said. If you look at the work that, I don't know if you follow the work that AI Palette has been doing. Have you seen that, Oliver?
Actually, no, I've not.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, and Fred, I don't know, because Oliver, there's also this very interesting, because, I would really recommend people to go on AI Palette and look at the work they've done. So Fred, on you, just to say that, building onto what Oliver said, one critical piece which we're really seeing in the restaurant industry, and as you said very correctly, 5 years, New York City, they're probably closing more than 5 years. They're probably shutting down every year because if you're not really reaching out to the customer. But if you look at data crawling and you look at AI intelligence from a consumer-based perspective, you can actually customize the menu into a neighborhood. So forget about the city. You can actually go down and say, Hell's Kitchen, this is what is trending. You go down the Lower East Side and say, this is what is trending there. You can even go down and say, this is what Gen Z is eating. Gen X is eating this. So you are there. I think you need to probably do a little bit more. And I'm happy to connect you to some folks if you want. I think that's going to be critical. I really recommend reading the chapter 5 of the book that I've written because it really touches upon some of the points. You're actually completely on the right track, but you may not, and you have your Google experience, you come from that. You can geolocate, right? You can go back and say that, this neighborhood in Madrid will probably have this beverage which is trending. So give one example is, suddenly they had this passion fruit vodka trending. They were actually just not doing it in terms of just making it. So data crawling happened. They found out that this is something which is happening in Asia. This is very exciting. They got it into manufacturing passion fruit vodka. These sales went up like to another level. So the same application, same AI application, because it's agentic AI is a super AI, all that will be applied into the restaurant and the HoReCa industry. So that's the point, Oliver, I was trying to explain to Fred that, this is a connection that's going to be, and whoever gets it first will be a game changer. I like your strategy. And I think probably if you look at Google Maps or somebody else and others out there, right, they might even come back and acquire you more than 7 years. If you do it correctly, they'll come back to you in a year, 2 years and say that, we probably want to acquire. Second is your GTM. I think there you need to also think through, really apply some of the new models which are already there. Happy to discuss. Our models are already part of some industry. I can't, because of NDA, I can't speak. But definitely, you're very close to the application of it. And there are very few people who are thinking like this. So I just want to congratulate you. But you may want to do a little bit more research with the work we have done, the work AI Pilot has done, and happy to connect with you later.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your comments. And just to bounce back on that, we built this tool hand in hand, and I love the context of New York that will make definitely our tool a bit more adaptable to other markets. But there is a certain legal framework in Spain that unfortunately binds us to the level of information that we're allowed to disclose to other restaurants. So I can't say your neighbor restaurant is serving this and this and that at that price, or I have to say it in a very diluted way. If you're a Vietnamese restaurant in the center of Madrid, I have to say Vietnamese restaurants in the community of Madrid, amongst the pool of the X many, have these flavor profiles included in their menu. So it's being very distilled in a way. So unfortunately, you do have that legal framework that comes into place, but that, even on a high level, also leaves a margin for creativity, because you don't want to strip the chef away from its own purpose, which is to create a menu. That is the first thing. And the second thing, of course, the agentic AI, that's kind of the big I'm part of the philosophy that that thinks that, if we were in the 80s, we would think IBM would take the idea. If we were in the 90s, we would think maybe Google would take the idea. If we were in the 2010s or the early 2020s, we would think OpenAI would take the idea. And then now it's agentic AI, and it's just another phase. And some companies have succeeded, some companies have been eaten up. That's the risk I'm taking. For now, it's showing results and it's yielding, and I'm super happy about it. And I can see it expand to many other countries and many other industries. But thank you so much for your comments, and I would love to have some feedback on on that. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Ravi. And finally, Gennady.
Thanks, Sasha. How much time do I have?
We've got 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
Are you going to talk that long?
The reason I ask is, Frederick, this is a space I'm really deep in. So I have a number of observations and thoughts, but I'll sort of prioritize kind of some of the most important ones. And on occasion, I may cut you off just in the interest of time. We can always grab more time later. First question, you're raising 1 mil at what valuation?
We're doing safe notes for now.
Okay.
Because I don't find it fair to do valuation at the point where we only have 15 clients in the beginning and we're looking at acquiring 552 clients within a year. So I don't find it fair to the investor or for ourselves.
I agree. That's part of the reason I asked. What is proprietary? I get your approach. Like I got your approach. You good deck. You didn't necessarily pinpoint it, but it came through pretty clear. It's essentially menu optimization, labor. You can even extend to that if you extend what it takes to make a dish and so on. Tying into a few other bits, providing technical guidance on how to either drive sales, decrease food costs, basically direct impact on P&L. Crystal clear. Where are you getting your data?
We purchase our own data sources.
From?
Different sources. It could be national institutes. It could be, some of it is LLM reliant through Perplexity. Some of them is through scraping that we do directly on the restaurant's websites. For example, menus, whatnot. It depends on what really. Like, for example, we have a direct integration with, so every city in Spain has their own market, like the national market, which is the main distributor. And we have a direct API with all those central markets that we're operating with. So we're able to track the ingredient prices on a daily basis based on that, for example.
Cool. And I assume API integration with the restaurant POSs, restaurant inventory management systems, the ones that have it, the ones that don't do it on a napkin or Excel. What do you think is proprietary in your approach? Do you have proprietary data that only you have? Are you building proprietary data that only you will have? Do you have proprietary algorithms? Do you have proprietary infrastructure elements? What is truly proprietary in your approach?
I mean, it's like asking what the difference between Uber and Lyft is, At the end of the day, what can we patent? Nothing. But what is proprietary? The data that we acquire and the data that we manipulate, every single report that gets pulled out. We came up with this own metric unit called the OptiScore. Mm-hmm. And the OptiScore is something that we got inspired through Google Ads, through our experience at Google Ads. And it's a mix of trend alignment with ingredient market price. So versus the price that they're currently paying. So So this is for example, a metric, but we have tons of metrics. I'm happy to do a demo, but I'm sure we don't have time right now. But of course, like the data itself, we have it stored on it stored online. We have it stored on a cloud.
So observation, I'm going to turn to a suggestion. Everything you're doing right now,
mm-hmm.
I can recreate in probably 48 hours. Not me personally, but for people in the ecosystem can recreate within 48 hours.
Okay.
And you don't also currently have a moat, because if you really break down your stack, there really isn't mm-hmm. anything that is proprietary. You're scraping data, you're getting data from other sources, you're getting data from restaurants, and then you're cleverly manipulating it, which is great. The end result from a customer perspective is good, like Ravi mentioned, like Oliver mentioned. It can be strengthened, and you will learn some of that during your customer testing. You will adjust. You will shape the product. Of that I have zero doubt. And you will find real benefit for the operators on how to basically make more money with their selling. No doubt, but you will not have a moat unless you start putting something down that is truly proprietary that only you have. I'm not sure if it's algos. And this is not about patenting stuff, right? This is just all about, it could be your know-how, it could be your own internal IP, something that would be hard for someone to recreate, something that would make you either stand up as a competitor, or if I do want to acquire somebody, I'll acquire you rather than trying to fight you. So you need to find what can be proprietary here. I don't think it's algos necessarily.
Yeah.
It could be the way you structure the data. It could be your score, right? It could be your scoring system. It could be you build up.
It's the whole journey. I mean, I don't know of any other SaaS that integrates the marketplace directly on it,
Buyers at platform.
Pinpoint the problem. No, but I mean, pinpoint within my realm. Pinpoint the problem, find the issue, solve the issue, order the ingredient. End of story.
I got it. Like I said, 48 hours, I'll give you the same thing. I'm not
okay.
joking.
I'm waiting for it.
So you really need to find something that only you have, and it could be the data you've collected. And by the way, to your earlier remark, can you share data between restaurants? Even if you could legally, you still shouldn't. Because if I find out you're sharing my data unsanitized with my potential competitor, even if it's in the town next door, I'm pulling out of the program, right? You will find a lot of operators will absolutely pull out of that. So you will need to take a lot of the data and sanitize it, average it, balance it out, and maybe you offer that as some sort of offering like that. And that could be, for example, proprietary, right? You could have a proprietary savings score, proprietary something. Even better if it's proprietary infrastructure layer. If you can find a way to build something proprietary as an infrastructure layer, now you'll have a moat. So that's basically is my push. Think about what you can do that cannot be recreated in 48 hours. Infrastructure is probably the cleanest if you can turn this into a data infrastructure play about how do you run those pipes between POS and some proprietary data of ingredient pricing and some sort of proprietary analysis of customer trends by zip code, by province, by whatever, right? You need to somehow discretize that. So if there's an infrastructure play here, you're good. If not, then you have to find something that's proprietary. Could be data, history of data that you have. There's some value, in whether the price trends and the customer trends over the past X years in Vietnamese fusion segment across Iberian Peninsula, right? There's some value in that. But that's what you need. That is really, 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 really what you need. Find the moat and build it from day one.
Thank you.
Can continue afterwards, either during the networking, or if you guys want to chat after, like separately another time, then I think you've got a lot to talk about here, definitely. So thank you so much, Frederic. And if anyone wants to chat with him afterwards during the breakout rooms, you can. So next up to our next slide. Next we have Ice&Nine Drinks being presented by the co-founder and managing director, Maximilian Medhurst. These are something unlike anything you've experienced before, a true flavor explosion. These bite-sized ice cubes filled with transform the way people enjoy friends. So deal summary, raising £1,000, 22-month runway to finalise its in-venue machine, run UK venue pilots and scale high-margin liquid sales, serving over 20,000 people and major activation delivered. Achievements to date, over 20,000 Ice&Nines sold at high-end UK events, repeat bookings, global spirit brands, licensed production facility, and a working in-venue machine prototype with detailed, attractive unit economics established. So it sounds interesting. I'll wait for this one. So over to you, Maximilian.
Thanks, Sascha. Let me just share my screen. Is that coming through?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Max. I'm the founder of Ice&Nine Drinks. We're a London-based drinks tech startup redefining the shot. To date, we've generated over £50,000 in revenue through sales to high-end events. and we're now raising £600,000 to bring Ice9 into the on-trade with our new in-venue machine. So what is an Ice9? Here's one that's margarita flavored. You pop it in your mouth and you first taste the refreshing lime-flavored ice shell. But then, after 9 seconds, boom. The shell implodes and liquid tequila breaks free, creating a unique cocktail experience that evolves inside your mouth. We have a range of 10 signature flavors, including both alcoholic and non-alcoholic options, and the response so far has been incredible. We've served over 20,000 Ice9s at premium events, and what we consistently see is people coming back again and again, keen to share the experience with friends, and especially wanting to try all the different flavors. We've worked with London's top event organizers and have done events ranging from the Cannes Lions Festival to birthday parties for Alan Sugar and the Rolex family. We've also collaborated with global drinks brands for activations, creating customized Ice9s featuring their liquids. In all cases, the Ice9s have excited guests and created a unique and memorable experience. These events and activations have demonstrated that Ice9 really resonates with consumers, but scaling our current model is limited. We have to produce all Ice9s on large machines here at our production space and then bring them directly to events pre-frozen. This creates a lot of costs, limits our ability to scale, and is really only suited to an event model. But to overcome this, we've developed a new countertop machine that will produce Ice9s on demand directly behind the bar, allowing us to bring the experience into the on-trade. The machines will allow Ice9s to be sold in bars, nightclubs, and restaurants, all with no cold chain required, making it extremely scalable and cost efficient. With this new machine, the business model becomes simple and scalable. We place machines in venues free on loan and generate revenue through supplying the proprietary liquids used to make the Ice9s. This removes upfront costs for venues, enabling rapid adoption, and gives us full control over quality, branding, and collaborations. The unit economics are also strong, with an 83% gross margin on the liquids. This allows us to recover the machine costs in roughly 8 weeks. Venues can also maintain their existing margins whilst benefiting from a more engaging, high repeat experience. In the UK alone, we think Ice9 has the potential to generate up to 78 million in annual recurring revenue from the sale of the liquids. The exciting part is also how well Ice9 fits into current trends around drinking. Consumers are drinking less, but spending more on premium, experiential, shareable serves, prioritizing experience over volume. Perfect for Ice9. We see the UK as an ideal launch market, with 38,000 on-trade venues providing a strong platform for rollout, and clear opportunities to expand internationally from there. Looking at our roadmap, we've already validated demand through premium events and completed the core R&D on our in-venue machine. We have a working prototype that can produce Ice9s fully automatically and in a compact form factor. Following our seed round, we'll be developing this into a fully integrated venue-ready system. That means combining the production system, usability, and reliability into a machine that can operate all day in a bar environment. From there, we move into in-venue trials, and then following final refinements, a full commercial pilot, with machines deployed across 5 venues spread across the hospitality sector. We'll then use our Series A to finalize our manufacturing and launch the machine and start scaling across UK venues. From there, the model becomes highly scalable. We'll expand across venue groups, rolling out nationally in the UK before starting to enter our first international markets. By the end of 2030, we aim to be in 3,500 venues, generating 11 million in annual recurring revenue from liquid sales. For this seed round, we're raising 600k, which will allow us to complete the development of our in-venue machine, secure the IP with patents, and run the full commercial pilot, positioning us for Series A and the full product launch. Looking further ahead, we believe Ice9 has strong strategic value to a potential acquirer. We're building a category-defining serve that brands want to be a part of, delivered through a high-margin recurring consumables model. Combined with our proprietary hardware and integrated consumables, this creates a defensible platform and a compelling path to exit. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to your questions and hope that one day you get to try an Ice9 in a venue near you.
Great. Thank you, Max. Great presentation. Yeah, I'll have to try that when I'm next in the UK. I think that would be popular here in the future, actually, as well. Anyway, right, over to questions. Ravi, would you like to go first this time?
Honestly, absolutely blown away with your innovation and invention. Absolutely brilliant. I think this is where you talk about creating an innovation in a highly competitive industry. So really, really is fantastic. So I don't know, whoever, if I were you, my biggest priority will be IP. I would put that as number one. Like if you haven't, you're already too late.
Yeah.
This IP would go crazy. Forget about UK, all the markets that we know, including, the sky is the limit, provided you have the right team and the right GTM strategy, of course. Second, for me, the question which is really is because I'm also into manufacturing. I don't know if you know that I also do air water generators. So we manufacture in Chennai and Mexico. So my question is really like, because if you're manufacturing in China, which I don't know, maybe if you are, and you have your IP protection, they don't give a shit. Reverse engineering is gone. So for me, from an investor's perspective, this is great. But from a manufacturing perspective, how do you really protect? Because this is going to be one of your biggest challenges. It's a brilliant innovation. So congratulations to you, whoever's come up with it. It's just going to be, I think it's going to be, valuation will go to another level once you get it right. This is excellent.
Thank you so much. And yeah, that's a really great question around the protection and the manufacturing. So yeah, the patent will cover the production process. We've already filed one patent on a different production process, which we use for making the.
So where are you filing the patents? Is it UK or is it global? Like, what are you doing?
We're starting with a UK patent, which will then expand globally. And so that's also why we haven't yet even filed the patent on this machine. We're keeping it a trade secret exactly how it works right now. And then we'll patent at the kind of, just before we enter the market to then give us the maximum time to expand it internationally.
So can I just say, this is a very difficult one for you because when you're filing the patent, you have to keep the trade secret. And this is the kind of a paradox, right, of filing the patent. So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're keen to not publish it too early. Our plan for manufacturing the machine is to initially do that in-house. We'll, especially for kind of our initial prototype units, we'll be producing those. And when we launch, we're aiming to get about 50 new venues per month, which I think we can handle in-house, getting most of the parts machined externally, then doing the final assembly here, which again keeps the know-how in-house, makes us the experts in terms of repairing the machines and making any upgrades and improvements following launch. And then only once we start getting bigger, will we then look to contract out the manufacturing is our plan.
So is that a machine behind you? It's a video I can't make out.
So this one's a prototype machine.
Yeah.
So it shows just, how it will look. We then have another prototype, which is the insides of it, which shows how it works. And that's, making Ice 9s already working successfully. And then with this funding round, we're kind of getting the stuff that makes it inside this. And then we'll launch it and put it into menus.
Yeah, very, very interesting. It's fantastic. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Ravi. Gennady, over to you next.
Hey, Max.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Sorry.
Thank you.
To help me understand, this is not flavored ice. This is a liquid, any liquid that is then encapsulated into a thin ice shell.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a liquid in the middle, flavored ice around the outside.
Sorry to intervene. I was thinking of the liquor chocolate from our generation.
It's somewhat similar, but it gives a very clean experience in the mouth because you first get this ice and then it completely dissipates and the liquid really explodes out. It's quite a sensation.
So the approach is that machine, the prototype of which is behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you load a specific liquid, a bottle of whatever alcohol? Like, do you put a bottle into it? Do you pour it into it? How do you actually get the liquid into the machine?
Yeah, so it will have, each Ice 9 has two liquids, the center alcoholic liquid and then the flavored ice shell. And we'll supply those in bottle format. And then you'll load that into the machine and we'll provide a range of flavors. Like right now we have 12 flavors, but we'll supply a different range. And then each venue will decide which ones they want to order and put it into the machine. The machine we think will produce 3 flavors is our plan right now.
Okay, so ingredients are proprietary, or can I take a bottle of my favorite Kahlua or whatever and make Kahlua ice bombs?
we'll be making it proprietary. So the machine will only work with our liquids, and we'll kind of use existing protection systems like you find for printer ink and stuff like this to ensure that people are only using our liquids with the machine.
Okay, so that means you'll have to cut partnership deals with Pernod Ricard and so on.
Exactly. If we want to use their
it's a dual-edged sword, right? Because if I want to get your machine, but I don't get distribution, I'm a bar, I don't get distribution from that, from the product line, right? So on one hand, it's going to force me to use that. On the other hand, it might limit your market. So something to consider as you think through the business models, as well as implications of, do you want to be a technology provider? Do you want to provide the machine? Or are you now in alcohol distribution business? Because those are two very, very different models.
Yeah.
Right. And you probably want to be in one, but not the other. I don't think you want to be in both. If I'm you, I want to be in the technology business. So think through that business model, that you're not accidentally becoming an alcohol vendor with all of the implications and limitations of it. Geographical, regulatory, and so on. Margins. What's your cost for the machine, and what's your target cost for the machine when you go full production at scale? And what are you pricing it at?
So the machine, for the first launch machines, we think it'll be about £2,000 per machine. At scale, that'll come down to £500 a machine. And we will be providing the machines free on loan to the venues. So that's why it's important to have the liquids locked. Most bars and things like this will be very reluctant to pay up front for a machine. So the standard model is you install it free on loan, and then you supply them with the liquids, and you can lock that in with a contract.
All right. So you wanna do the razor blade thing. You want to give up the machine, and you want to make money on the ingredients on the bottles of liquids.
Yeah, it's a razor and blades model, or printer ink, that sort of model.
Interesting. Dual-edged sword. Really need to think through it. Dual-edged sword. What's the feedback from the customers on the taste, on the, that mouth sensation? Is it positive? Is it the same? Like, what are you hearing?
It's overwhelmingly positive. Honestly, I think going into it, I didn't expect people to respond so amazingly. Everyone's response is, you can describe the product. I really wish you could all try it, because it's just such a unique experience, and it's just really enjoyable. I think a lot of people compare the ritual to a shot ritual, but it's just so much more enjoyable, because you've kind of got this evolving flavor in your mouth. You've kind of paired the alcohol with something else. The flavors are all very exciting. My background is engineering. I am on the kind of tech side, but even the flavors that we've managed to put together, people's response has been really good. And this is what has also got us into these very premium events, is that everyone who tries it really likes it and says, this is suitable for Cannes Lions. So our event there was with NBC Universal. They were the client, and we've done all the collaborations with the spirits brands, because they also think they taste good, and it's a good showcase of their product.
Feel free to send me a machine to Texas. I'll also be in London, I think, in August, so we can do a little taste.
You should definitely drop by.
Any liquids that this technology will not do? I'm talking about for the both inner and outer shells. It's not really freezing the inner, you're just freezing the outer. Like, is there any limitations on what liquids can and cannot go in there?
Not so. You just need a center that doesn't freeze. So for alcohol, that means the ABV has to be above about 20% if you want to have the proper experience, which covers all spirits, but not, for example, beer or wine. The shells do have to be formulated quite carefully to get the right texture of ice, and that again adds to our kind of know-how and the proprietary nature of the liquids. But we can do non-alcoholic, which also unlocks other potential uses for the same technology.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm going to have to jump in now. Running out of time, so we'll still go on to the.
Max is going to send me a machine anyway, so.
No, you guys can continue chatting either afterwards in the breakout rooms, or connect with each other afterwards. But thank you so much, Gennady. And finally, on to Oliver. I'm sure you've got some questions.
Yeah, thank you. I was actually going to ask as well about the kind of de-alcoholization trend that you're seeing, and less alcohol consumption happening currently. So I'm glad to hear that your machine works also with non-alcohol products. Then I guess the question for me also would be around understanding, formulation. You obviously want to have a product that tastes really good, especially like if you're trying to coordinate or cooperate with big existing spirit brands that people recognize. Then they might want to make sure that their product is formulated in a way. Like, how are you going to work with them together to get them on board as well?
Yeah, two great points. Yeah, on the non-alcoholic point, I forgot to mention this, but what is very exciting is that we've launched this non-alcoholic line. So we started out with all the alcoholic ones, and now we've got the non-alcoholic. It means that people who traditionally don't drink and don't take part in the kind of shot ritual now get included in that ritual, and maybe people who've never been part of it now suddenly they're all sharing an experience together. And bizarrely, the best feedback we've had is on our non-alcoholic virgin pina colada. Most people, when they've tried the whole selection, they say this is their actual favorite one, which is really, really good. On the flavors, so this is again another reason why I think it's important to have the proprietary liquids and have it a closed ecosystem rather than an open one where people can put in whatever liquids they want, because then it gives you that control that we're the ones producing the liquids, and that we can guarantee that if, say, Jägermeister are doing a partnership with us and they're putting their liquid inside, that it will taste a consistent way that we've approved it with them. And in all the collaborations that we've done, we've not met much resistance in terms of the flavors that we've created. Everyone's been very happy with what we've done, and
really cool. This might be a little bit out there as well, but I just had a thought around flavor masking, and even like thinking about medicines for kids, for example, administering them to drink something quote unquote gross like a cough syrup you could put inside and have them. I don't know, is that like way too far-fetched, or is that something that could be interesting?
I think it's something that could be interesting. This is another reason why we wanted to crack the non-alcoholic ones, because then it does just unlock, be able to put different things inside, whether that's a medical application, whether it's functional, more functional drinks and like other functional ingredients, or other applications such as using it as a dessert, we even did a partnership with Lavazza where we made one that was a cold brew coffee shell with a creamy vanilla center that was then a kind of morning breakfast brunch kind of drink as well, like an alternative, like a cold espresso.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I'd love to see exactly that, like the innovation going beyond just like the one setting in the bar and kind of nightlife scene. Because I feel a lot of especially also investors have this mindset of like it's kind of a declining market at the moment. And so I think showing that you can also prevail in other scenarios or bring people into the mix with different markets is really important. So
that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Oliver, for your question, and thank you, Max. Yeah, I'm very excited to follow like where you go with this. So, and hopefully I'll get to try it at some point when I'm back in the UK, and hopefully we'll bring it over here to Dubai at some point. I think there'll be a big market for that here, especially the non-alcoholic. So, right. So, thank you so much. Right, on to our final panelist for this evening. I will just do the quick intro. So we have Sesamix, which is going to be presented by the founder and CEO, Wisal Ahmed. It's a patented food innovation transforming upcycled seed byproducts into crunchy, high-fiber cookies and snacks for kids, diabetics, athletes, and anyone seeking better choices. Deal summary: raising a pre-seed round of $500,000, 5% equity to complete regulatory validation, scale production, build distribution channels, and bring its patented upcycled sesame-based snack range to market across the UAE and the wider MENA region and globally. Achievements to date: filed a patent in the US, UAE, and Sudan, launched a 3 SKU minimum viable product, prepared commercial production facility, gained interest from HoReCa distributor and a school program, and built partnerships and credibility in the UAE and internationally. So over to you, Wisal.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Sascha, for the introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are in the world right now. I am Wisal Ahmed, founder of Sesamix. Most food startups focus on creating new products. What if the biggest opportunity is in what we already have, but what we overlook? At Sesamix, we upcycle nutrient-rich ingredients into functional high-protein snacks designed for modern consumers and schools. Next slide, please. Sesamix is rooted in both personal experience and industry insight. Coming from background where food access and quality are real challenges, I saw clear gap between available nutrition and what reaches consumers. At the same time, from an industrial perspective, we are underutilizing nutrient-rich resource every day. Sesamix brings these together, combining public health, food innovation, and circular economy thinking. Next slide, please. The market opportunity is significantly growing. The global health snacks market exceeds $100 billion with the MENA region alone, over 8 billion and rapidly expanding. There is also a strong alignment with regional priorities like food security, local production, and innovation. We have filed patents to support our innovation and long-term scalability. We initially targeting a focused obtainable market of $75 to $200 million. Sorry. Next slide, please. We're solving two critical challenges here. First is the waste problem, valuable nutrient-dense resources that are lost or underutilized. The second is a health gap of over 35% consumers who are diabetics in the MENA area. And they are looking actively for healthier food options and accessible choices. This creates a clear market gap and a strong opportunity for innovation. Next one, please. Our solution is simple but powerful. We transform these underutilized ingredients into high protein, low glycemic snack, starting with products like sesame, chips, and crackers. In Sudan, I'm from Sudan originally. Sudan has number one producer of sesame in the world. So I decided to make use of our products. They are, I'm not going to say they are all organic, but very tasty because the soil is very fertile and underutilized. So we want to share the world with our products. Our products are designed for tasty, health, and affordability. And the next slide, please. Competitive edge, please. The next one. Thank you. In today's markets, consumer face a trade-off. Products are either healthy but not enjoyable, or tasty but highly processed. Many existing options are imported, expensive, or lack real nutrients. At Sesamix, we eliminate that trade-off. Our products are designed to be tasty, healthy, and affordable, as I mentioned before. Next one, please. We have already made strong progress toward commercialization. We are setting up production in, we're planning to set up production in Ras Al Khaimah because it doesn't, the cost is less than other Emirates. And we're moving towards commercialization readiness. We have secured strategic sourcing, supply chain, and pathways. Most importantly, we have validated the products through successful pilot trials at SFL, the FSL, Food Specialties Limited in Jebel Ali. That was in March. And we got very strong consumer feedback so far. And next one, please. The business model. Next one. Yes, our business model is designed for both accessibility and scalability. We position our products at an affordable retail price of around 10 dirham. with distributor margins of 20 to 25%. And this creates a strong and sustainable model for growth across retail and distribution channels. Next one, please. I'm going to combine these two so to keep the time on. We have strengths lies, our team strengths lies in combining vision with execution. I led the company as a founder, bringing product innovation and strategic direction, supported by a team and partners with expertise along food technology and production operations. Together, we are building both the product and the system required to scale. Next one, and the one after, please. The one after, yes. Yes. No, sorry. Current traction. No, next one. Next one. Yes, please. Our journey over the past months shows a consistent progress since September. I spent the first 2 months with the Global Entrepreneurship Program, Accelerator Program in July and August in Dubai. And in September, I obtained the nutrition in charge from my school program at Dubai Municipality. And our journey, we began with initial testing and validation, including consumer feedback sessions. We then expanded into partnerships with global exposure through the Gulf food and early distribution discussions. Most recently, we have advanced production, as I mentioned before, and the MVP, I did it with Food Specialties Limited. And now this positions us well for the commercial launch in 2026 this year. Next one, please. This is a testimonial video showing the validity of our product. And we tested it at the Dubai Petit Chefs in Dubai. This is a French chef. Look, you can start the video, please.
I'm going to just paste the video link in the chat, Whistle, because you've gone over time. So please continue with the next slide, Pavan, and I'll paste the video link, okay? Please continue.
No problem. Yeah, we are currently raising a $500,000 pre-seed round for 5% equity. This will fund production, regularity, validation, distribution, setup, and market entry. We're also planning a $2 million seed round following market validation. Beyond capital, we are seeking strategic partners across retail, distribution, and public health ecosystems to accelerate the scale, hoping to get schools and government and probably health department to join us. And finally, at Sesamix, we are not just creating a product, we are building a new approach to nutrition, turning overlooked resources into scalable, healthy food solutions. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thank you, Whistle. Really great presentation. Right, over to the panelists. Gennady, would you like to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you much. Good pitch. Clearly something you're very, very passionate about and also very knowledgeable about, which is always a good combination. If I look across the shelves right now, there are competitive products, right? None of them are perfect, absolutely fair, but they're there. So if I'm a consumer, I come to the shelf, I see your product as a competitive product. Let's start first with the cost. Where would you be priced at versus competition?
I think we're in the middle, you can say that. Also, if you compare the price to the value of what you're getting,
Let's say price per pack, like price on the package. Without what are you getting for it? Just literally a bag versus a bag. How much is yours? How much is competitor?
10, and competitors start from 8 going up to 12.
Okay. What about if you just want a snack? It's not a healthy snack. It's not a premium snack. What would be the cost then?
No, say that again. Sorry.
Like if is 8, is that the comparable, or is that still in your segment, but not as premium?
I consider our product is premium.
Right.
It is compared to, and
what would be a non-premium snack that's
something
equivalent
that
to yours?
will be like made of regular flour that's empty, has empty nutrients.
Yeah.
My product is not gluten-free, but it is highly nutritious. Protein, vitamins, fiber, which is really important. It's our product targets like dieters, people who are seeking healthy, clean food. We could use it also for bodybuilders because it's high in protein and fiber.
Okay, makes sense. So
and also for diabetics, because we don't use sugar, we use stevia and sugar alternatives. So it has less amount of calories.
So, so 2 questions, and they're very related. So I'm going to ask them both at the same time.
Sure.
So first question is really, who is your ICP? What is your ideal customer profile? And there could be several, but do you know clearly what customers you're looking to target? And then the second question, related question, is there's a fair amount of consumer education that needs to happen for somebody to appreciate the benefits of your product. And there are many. I agree with you. There are many product benefits to your product. But how would you deliver that consumer education so folks will understand how awesome your product is? So those are the questions. What are your ideal customer
I'm going to
profiles?
answer. Are you finished?
Yes.
Finished. Yeah, I'm going to answer the last question first. I don't think we do need education. I see there is a movement now, not only in the MENA area, but globally, a movement and a consumer awareness of what is good and what is healthy and what not. If you look at Kellogg's now, Kellogg's is being bought. It's, what is it called? PepsiCo is being bought by Kellogg's because now Kellogg's has seen the trend, the global trend of people looking for healthy breakfasts, for healthy snacks. So this is an indication of what is going on globally, and there is a change in the attitude of people looking to not to put anything in their mouths. They're very selective. I'm not speaking only about myself, but this is a general trend now that's emerging. My question for the other part, but we can do some education. Actually, we are looking to do some education about water intake, because I have a public health degree, and I have noticed that in UAE or the MENA area, because of the weather, the heat, people, they don't feel thirst. There is another feeling that they had. Instead of feeling thirsty, they feel an urge to take some sugary snack or some sugar just to compensate for the loss of energy. So people, they don't drink much. I'm thinking of doing some awareness of the importance of drinking water first. When you feel hungry or you want to grab a sugary snack, you have to drink water before you go and grab that healthy snack. I think this is the reason behind the rise of diabetes in the MENA area, because of the weather, because of the urge for thirst is numbed. It's not there because we don't sweat. We're staying in these air-conditioned boxes, and we don't feel any thirsty, any thirst. We just because we don't lose water, so we don't need to put in water. Then the feeling that we have is we want sugar, and this is this is not the correct feeling. So we have two problems here, if you can understand what I mean. This is, I think, why in the MENA area there is a high rate of diabetes. And this takes us to the question, to the answer that who am I targeting? Targeting the diabetics, and pre-diabetics. besides snacks for schools, like my school food now, they have expressed their interest in buying my product, and I took the nutrition in charge and another certificate as a caterer or someone who would manufacture for schools. We're also targeting the dieters and healthy people who are seeking healthy snacks or healthy clean food, bodybuilders, and yeah. Hope I answered your questions.
Yeah. Thanks, Sal. Appreciate you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kennedy. Oliver, over to you.
Thank you for the pitch. Really interesting product as well. I like the upcycling angle, and I really wanted to dive in a bit further. You mentioned that you've filed a patent. Is that for a manufacturing process, or can you elaborate a little bit more on what the patent is around?
Patents around using upcycled products and make it into healthy snacks.
So is that your manufacturing process?
Yes. Upcycled nuts and seeds, turning them into healthy snacks. And we have 3 SKUs so far. We have we have the biscuits. We have savory crackers, and we have sesame thins, and we have like 3-4 SKUs ready for R&D. We're doing R&D at Food Specialties Limited in Jabal Ali.
And are these all using the same upcycling technology?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And what kind of range of ingredients can you upcycle?
All kind of nuts, and I'm concentrating for seeds on sesame so far.
And where do you get
we-
your kind of your waste streams? Like what kind of, where do you procure your ingredients? Are
I'm
these really
hopefully
waste streams? Because nuts, for example, are quite expensive.
they are, but the byproduct of nuts is not expensive at all. That's why I'm making use of this fact.
Mm-hmm.
Sesame is from Sudan, because the sesame in Sudan has a different taste than any other sesame I tasted. I lived in Egypt for a while. Sesame there doesn't have the same, it has some bitterness. In Sudan, it doesn't. Sudanese
So,
sesame tastes exceptionally good.
mm-hmm. I mean, that's perfect for the sesame product that you're making.
Mhm.
So you're not upcycling the nut directly, but you're upcycling, is it like the husk or some other component of it?
No, I'm upcycling the nuts too. Both of them are upcycled.
Okay. So they're kind of, are they like discarded nuts that are not like pretty enough to sell, or
Now
why
they
are they
sell it to
discounted?
animal feed. Can you believe it? They take it.
Okay.
I'm an oil producer. I was producing back in 2019 sesame oil, and I looked at the waste that comes out, and I thought about it. People are starving in the streets, and we're discarding this good outcome. And I took it to the lab, tested it, and I find it very high in nutrients and fiber and protein. And then I did some treatment to it, minimal treatment, and it was really it got good reviews, especially
That's
from children.
exciting.
I was very concerned about children's snacks. People snacks, they took candy to school, chips, and all these they have empty nutrients. So I thought about
Definitely. Yeah, that's a real problem. And in terms of the regulatory, are there any concerns with upcycling ingredients that you still need to look at?
Yes, that's an excellent question you're asking, because I have a problem with regulated, you know that, especially in the MENA area. Not otherwise, there is no problem. Like in Egypt, when I started first producing, no problem. But in UAE, we have to solve the issue with regulatory problem.
Mm-hmm. And how long is the timeline for you on regulatory?
Well, I was in Dubai until March, and I'm going back, and I'm going to start the process again soon. I haven't started regulations yet. I'm hoping my school food program would help with that too, because they're very keen in the products, and there is new guidelines now for school snacks, as you all know. I think that's a legitimate reason to get them on my side and try to find them.
Sure, I
I'm
like the
also
angle of. Go ahead,
What's
sorry.
that?
No, let's go ahead.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I think about maybe I can produce this somewhere outside UAE and then just sell it in UAE. This would be, it's going to be very inexpensive because production in UAE is a little bit high. So we are now looking into other options into producing this somewhere and then send it, because there is a demand in MENA area.
Sure. No, and I think there's a lot of focus on having regional supply chains and localized production, and also using what's in the area, right? I mean, we're also seeing now like supply chains are getting more fragile, longer, more expensive. Shipping is, not what it used to be already. So those are the things that are top of mind also for regional governments. So I think that's a nice angle there. But you've already built a pilot facility or some kind of factory?
I used to have a factory in Sudan before conflict in 2021, but the conflict broke in 23 and we stopped. And I came to Egypt, but I didn't want to start in Egypt at that time. So I was in Dubai until March, and now I'm back in Egypt. And now I'm on a trip in Sudan. To Sudan, I have milling facility in River Nile state where I'm right now. So I'm looking. We're going to sell to WFP because there is a need there. And, yeah.
Super interesting journey. I
We
wish
have
you
a
all the
grant
best.
from Mercy Corps and WFP to do this project in Sudan. Thank you very much for your question. Insightful questions.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Oliver. Unfortunately, Ravi had to leave to take another call because he was obviously stepping in. So, but Niraj, who is part of some of our other event series here, he's got a question in the chat. He's the go-to-market. His question here is, sorry, could you please clarify your go-to-market strategy to reach the pre-diabetic or diabetic consumer? Or you can even ask it yourself because he's come on the screen now. But yeah, sorry.
No, please.
This is your question.
So I'll read the comment. Yeah. Could you please clarify your go-to-market strategy to reach the pre-diabetic or diabetic consumer?
Well, first we're thinking about creating a AI interactive website to get some of the consumers interactive website to get us to maybe do some monitoring and health advice and check before and after and see what's we need to do some research because we have now an R&D progress. We progressed on that, so this is going to be one of our.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I wonder if that's your go-to-market. It could be going back to a couple of presentations ago with what Geraldine mentioned. Maybe you could use that as a data play as well. That could be something to consider.
Yes.
That and how that mode.
Yes.
But I think you're doing two things at once, and I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge. And I just kind of pointing out some things. So yeah, I wish you luck. Thank you for answering.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Niraj, for asking a question last minute. Thank you for presenting. That's the end of all the startups pitching this evening. Just to recap who's pitched this evening for anyone who's joined late. So we have 4 startups pitching this evening. We had Curry Smugglers, Desi Snacks, presented by Steve Salopal. We had Optilicious Menus AI, presented by Frederick Duffer. We had Ice9 Drinks, presented by Maximilian Medhurst. And we had Sesamix, just now presented by Rizal Ahmed. Big thank you to our investor panels. It was a complete change, most of it, from what we originally thought was going to attend. So apologies for that. But sometimes these things happen when panelists pull out at the last minute for various reasons. So, but we had Gennady Goldenstein, founder and managing partner of Dynamic Ventures, We had Oliver Fuss, founding partner of Food Funder, and then Ravi Kakara, who stepped in, founder of Invest, Investors Forum, New York City, co-founder of Global Air Water Generation, Chief Strategist Officer of Aeronero, investor, entrepreneur, and awarded sustainability champion. And also he's written a book, which I think we've got the link in the chat if anyone's interested to read more about that. I'm now going to hand over to Jamal to just share upcoming events, and then he'll talk about the breakout rooms for anyone who wants to speak to. I think we've got 2 startups here still on who you can talk to. So over to you, Jamal.
Yeah, thank you, Sascha. Just spotlighting myself. Yeah, thank you for staying with us. We just reached time. I don't want to go over too much. So yeah, we've got a bunch of events coming up, including another edition in our webinar series. This time focused on the UAE. Focus on Saudi Arabia. Usually we do a UAE focused webinar series, but we also have a networking event coming up with our VC company in Dubai, Homegrown Ventures. They invest in homegrown founders in the CPG and the food space, not just across the MENA region, but even India and Portugal. They've invested in during their first round. They raised about 23 million for the first round and invested in about 5 or 7 startups. But we've also got got an in-person event on Friday this week. So if you're in Dubai, we are back to in-person events after a 2.5-month break with the disruption that we had. We've also got a bunch of pitch events coming up in May, including the return of our feedback guidance events, the Foodpreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge and the Drinkpreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge, which I co-produced alongside with Niraj, and the Foodpreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge alongside Sascha. We're taking a health and longevity theme next month. So it would be great if, any founders that would be suitable for our events, please do refer them to us. We've also got a live streamed investor demo event at the end of May, which will be a beverage pitch lounge. So drinks focused, it won't be healthy drinks focused. And that will be particularly targeting the Europe and the North American market. And again, that's co-produced with Niraj. So thank you, Niraj, for your help. So that's the event coming up. Also, just pasting again the link to the in-person event that we have on Friday. So that's being pasted in the chat right now. If you're in Dubai, then please reach out and join us for that event. In terms of the community groups, we've got a bunch of community groups on LinkedIn, and also a really lively WhatsApp group. And WhatsApp set of groups actually with it underneath the Foodpreneurs Collective community. You can join these via our website, pitchlounge.net/community. And I pasted that link in the chat. And we've also got, a bunch of other ways of also engaging with us, our YouTube channel, and various other ways. We also do other events. We do expo work and we organize meetups for people. So if you want any help with events, please do reach out. But the community page is the main one to access all the LinkedIn groups and so on. But another really big one is also the newsletter. We send a newsletter out every week or every fortnight, and this is really lively. It's the Pitch Lounge Investor Scoop. We showcase all the founders that are pitching with us, but also other community news. And it'd be great if you subscribe to that or would like to be featured in it. Please let me know. Special thanks to the backend team. They've been really great in promoting the event and also doing all the design work. And we'll continue to promote the startups who pitched today for the coming weeks. And also it's available on demand on YouTube in case you didn't join the event earlier. You can jump in and watch it there. Just also pasting that YouTube channel separately in the chat. But yeah, if you want to pitch with us, you can apply via our website. We had quite a few people reaching out to us today during the event, asking us how that's possible. So you just go to our website, pitchlounge.net/startups. We get close to 100 plus per quarter applying to pitch, and it's great to advise you on your pitch deck, but also work out what might make sense in terms of your timeline for fundraising for you to pitch with us. We've also got an option to be on our panels. We were expecting 2 new panelists today, and First time that's ever happened, they didn't turn up. So that's a bit of shock. But thank you to Oliver and also Ravi for stepping in. And Gennady is one of our regulars for the last 2.5-3 years. So thanks again for being reliable, and also Niraj stepping in at the end as well. Much appreciated. We had a really good quality event. So yeah, if you want to be a panelist, you can set up on our website at pitchlounge.net/panelists, and then we can match you to an event and give you some helpful reminders as well. For any other queries, you can always just email me or email the team at info@pitchlounge.net. And now we're going to move to breakout room and see if we've got some extra questions of Max and Wissal. We sadly don't still have Steve. He was very keen to he had to go off to something else after the event, so sadly he couldn't stay. And Frederick likewise. So we still have, I believe, Max. And Max, are you still with us? I think you are, right? You are, yes. And you are you active?
Yep.
And Vissal also, yeah. So both of those are still with us. We've dropped a bit down from where we were earlier, around 45 people, down to about 18-20. So we'll keep them open for 25 minutes. But if there isn't that amount of questions and conversations, then we'll close them earlier and we'll come back to the main space. But I'm going to have to open the 2 rooms now for Max and Vissal in case Oliver has some more questions or Niraj or anyone like that has more questions. But yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for staying with us. And hope to see you again. Let's keep supporting ASH founders and connecting them to investors, advisors, and giving them lots of